Good evening and welcome everybody. My name is Schraner. I'm a current Australian Institute of Sport Thrive with Pride Ambassador, and as you can see on the screen, a current Australian Jackaroo lawn bowler and a two-time world singles champion. I'm also a very proud LGBTQIA athlete, which is well known around the bowling community, and I thought tonight would be a great experience for everyone to understand some facts about the LGBTQIA community and get some basic education on language and things to speak to. Alright, let's get into it then. So the first part of our seminar is basic facts about our community. There's some stuff on here that's quite daunting to read. It's not a name, blame or shame game. It's more about providing you with the information that I'm aware of and why we need to get our LGBTQIA community into our sporting and into our bowling clubs in particular. Alright, so what does LGBTQIA stand for? As people know, it used to be the LGBT and then letters keep getting added on, and now there's a plus on the end so that we don't have to do too many more letters. So I'll just give you a quick rundown on what they stand for. L stands for lesbian, who is an individual who identifies as a woman and is sexually or romantically attracted to other people who identify as women. The G stands for gay, who's an individual who identifies as a man and is sexually or romantically attracted to other men. The term gay can also be used for women who are attracted to other women. You can call, say, a lesbian couple a gay couple. Bisexual is an individual who is sexually or romantically attracted to people of the same gender and people of another gender. Bisexuality does not necessarily assume there are only two genders. That's important to note. Okay, transgender is an umbrella term that we use which refers to people whose assigned sex at birth does not match their gender identity. So someone who is born with male parts who identifies as a female and vice versa. Queer is just a broad term used to describe a range of sexual orientations and gender identities. It's not an offensive word. It's a word that the LGBTQIA community does use because it's easier to say than all those letters with a plus sign. Intersex is something a lot of people would not have heard of. It's a term that refers to individuals who have anatomical, chromosomal and hormonal characteristics that differ from medical conventional understandings of male and female bodies. Asexual is the letter A in the acronym, and it's a sexual orientation that reflects little or no sexual attraction either within or outside relationships. So a couple can be in a relationship whether heterosexual, bisexual, gay, lesbian, any one of those particular letters, and has a companionship but no sexual attraction. The plus is a symbol of inclusivity, signifying that the acronym is not purely exhaustive and includes anyone whose identity isn't covered by the initial letters. Hence why I said earlier, the plus sign. Okay, some of you may already understand this, but let's just look at some of the research into why are some people queer or LGBTQIA+. Scientific consensus is that sexual orientation is a complex trait influenced by a combination of genetic, hormonal and environmental factors rather than a single cause. We actually have no pinpoint scientific explanation of why somebody is born queer. While there is no single gay gene, studies show that genetics play a role, but not a complete one. The social environment after birth, this is beyond what some believed some years ago. The social environment after birth is highly unlikely to be a factor, especially for males. This has been proven, so gay or lesbian couples or LGBTQIA+ couples that have children, it's been proven that the social environment for those children is not going to affect their sexuality. Research also suggests that prenatal, or in other words in utero, environmental factors are influential. So while the baby is growing in the uterus, forming in the uterus, there are prenatal effects that are influential on the sexuality of the child as born. Basically, there is no choice in sexual orientation. You are born that way. Some of this stuff I'm about to show you is some of the worldwide opinions, legal rights. It's quite scary, some of these facts, but this is a fact seminar. I want to present to you what's going on around the world. As I said earlier, this is not a name, blame or shame game. This is just information that some people know and a lot of people don't know. Australia is a very progressive country in terms of the rest of the world, which is excellent news for us because we are Australian. We rank as the 7th best country in the world for legal rights and freedoms of the queer community. That's pretty high up there. Unfortunately, in terms of public opinion, we rank 26th in the world. This Equaldex source that I used for this information is a very good site in getting equality indexes for a range of different areas. Public opinion through survey has revealed that although the world sees us as the 7th best country for, as though we are for legal rights and freedoms the 7th best country in the world, the public opinion only ranks us as 26. So we need to ask ourselves, why is public opinion behind legal rights and freedoms? Does anyone have any answer for that? I don't either. I think that politically in this area, for our legal rights and freedoms, we are excellent in terms of the world. 26 is still quite high, but it would be nicer to see that with our legal rights and freedoms. 7th of November 2017 was a special day for a lot of people. Can you believe it was 8 years ago? Australia voted to legalise same-sex marriage. I want to show you the stats. 12,691,000 people voted, which was a number of people didn't participate going by those numbers. 7.8 million said yes, which is 61.6%. 4.8 million said no, which is 38.4%. I don't want to dwell on it. 38.4% said no. What does the sexuality of somebody you don't know have to do with you? New South Wales votes, unfortunately, were worse. And in terms of coastal to country, the coastal stats were very good. The country stats, unfortunately, very poor. 2.3 million said yes, 57.8%. 1.7 million said no, 42.2%. It's a fact that New South Wales, as a state, is less progressive in comparison to the country. That's unbelievable. Did you know that being queer was still illegal in some parts of Australia until 1997? This is one of my favourite facts. Tasmania was the last state to decriminalise same-sex relationships, and it was on the 1st of May 1997. And I'll let you read that, but prior to that date, consenting same-sex acts between adults was punishable by up to 21 years in prison. Wow. Now let's go to the rest of the world. There are still 7 countries around the world that unequivocally impose the death penalty for same-sex relationships. Does anyone know what unequivocally means? It basically means that that's the only penalty if you're found guilty. Okay? I said I wouldn't shame, but I'm going to name them. Brunei, Iran, Mauritania, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Uganda and Yemen. And let's get to more facts. Same-sex relationships are actually illegal still in 64 countries. Of these countries, how is this? 22 specified as only illegal for males. So those 22 countries, it's perfectly legal for females to involve themselves in a queer relationship, but not for males. In Oceania, which is the region we're in, it remains illegal in Kiribati, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Tonga and Tuvalu for males only, while it is completely banned on the Solomon Islands. They're the only countries within Oceania that have a criminal offence for same-sex relationships. Of the 54 countries in Africa, homosexuality remains illegal in 33 of them. A lot of people relate this to the AIDS pandemic. Unfortunately, AIDS is not simply related to queer relationships, it can be passed through heterosexual relationships as well. These are scary. Our community and suicide. Here's some facts about suicide, and this is scary for the whole of Australia. Don't want to scare people, but these are pure facts that we should be aware of. You are not alone. 4.9% of Australians will attempt suicide during their lifetime. That's 1 in 20 people attempt to kill themselves. That is a shocking stat. 15.3% had thought about suicide in their lifetime. Okay, that's about 1 in 6 to 1 in 7. That is extraordinarily high. Unfortunately, 16% of LGBTQIA plus Australians will attempt suicide during their lifetime. That's more than 3 times the rate of all Australians. And this one scares me. 47.8%, almost half, had thought about suicide in their lifetime. Am I one of them? You're goddamn right I am. Let's get a little bit, still very important, but let's tone it down a bit. Let's talk about mental health. Mental health is a huge thing currently in the world at the moment, especially here in Australia. The mental health awareness over the last 2 decades has been astronomical. Unfortunately, it's also resulted in a number of other people understanding that they do have an illness and getting treatment. 19.9%, 1 in 5 Australians had suffered from a mental disorder in the past year. 1 in 5. 41.7, so 2 out of 5 of Australians had suffered from a mental disorder in their lifetime. It's not 1 out of 3 anymore, like we used to hear about that 1 in 3 suffer. It's higher than that. And unfortunately, 58.7% of LGBTQIA plus Australians had suffered from a mental disorder in the past 12 months. That's more than every second person. 3/4 of LGBTQIA plus Australians had suffered from a mental disorder in their lifetime. Their sexuality had brought them down so much that their mental health was affected. 3 out of 4. We can fix this. So how many Australians actually identify as LGBTQIA plus? This is really interesting. We'll go by age group. 4.5%, so 1 out of every 20 people in Australia identifies as LGBTQIA plus. That's a lot of people. That's over 1 million people. In the age group of 16 to 24, 9.5%, 1 in 10 basically. And it drops. And it drops. And it continues to drop. Why does it drop? The answer is simple. This is not a trend, this is a sign that as time goes by, acceptance is increasing. I believe the top figure is relevant to every age range. It's just that the older generation in those age ranges has lived a life of not who they are, may be involved in a marriage or children or grandchildren, and will actually go to their grave never experiencing who they were born to be. Alright, that concludes the first part of our seminar. We got through that pretty quick. We'll have a short 5-minute break and then we will get on with our basic education. So feel free to have a rest.